Hi, my name is Juan. I am 20 years old. My major is sport management. And for my career, I want to be a coach in baseball.
My name is Dejanique. I'm 20. My major is communication, and I want to do something within influencer marketing.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm 20 years old. I'm a finance major, and I want to be a financial advisor.
So today we'll be talking about social media usage and the positive and negative effects of it. We'll bring in our own personal experiences so that the audience can have some sort of relatability. And lastly, we'll present interesting facts and statistics about social media.
Our objective is that the listener will be able to understand the impact social media has on their life and should walk away with valuable information and advice about minimizing or maximizing their usage.
Okay, so first, Jordan, do you have social media? And if so, what apps do you use consistently?
Yes, I do have social media. I use Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Facebook being the longest one I had for like 12 years maybe.
Ooh, okay. Well, do you have similar social media platforms like Jordan?
Yeah, I'll say the social media apps that I use are similar to the ones that Jordan uses, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure we all have the same thing.
Yeah, how about you?
I use TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I no longer use Facebook anymore.
Okay, Jordan, so do you find yourself indulging in certain type of content on social media?
Yes, I actually watch soccer a lot. I watch soccer for maybe like an hour and a half a day, maybe watching soccer highlights and stuff like that. And I watch a lot of people playing games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends.
Okay.
And I listen to music.
Music, yeah. How about you, Dejanique?
The only social media platform that I indulge in most of the time is YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I find a lot of educational videos and relaxing ASMR videos on YouTube.
Okay. So how does your usage affect your overall productivity or energy level throughout the day, Jordan?
Well, I've always seen a problem with social media because when I first got my phone, an iPhone, in fact, my grades went down, and it just never went back up. Like I went from being an A student towards being a C plus B minus student.
So you say because of your iPhone, your grades just started to decline. You weren't paying attention to school as much?
Yeah, I started to not pay attention in school, and I was just on my phone a lot.
So according to the Joint Economical Committee, 29% of girls who spent 3 or more hours per day on social media engaged in self-harm, and 31% of girls who spent 5 or more hours on social media were depressed. Among girls who spend less than 2 hours per day on social media, 19 engaged in self-harm, and 20% experience depression. So, Dejanique, I'm going to hand this one off to you. How does social media affect younger women and teenage girls?
Well, me, growing up as a teenager, as a female, I think that I agree with those statistics because, well, I haven't, experienced self-harm or anything like that, but I do find myself, when I was younger specifically, comparing myself to a lot of girls on social media. And I think it's definitely become more of a trend now for young girls to do that. The BBLs and, beauty stuff, that's much more transparent. It's more seen on social media now, and it's affecting a lot of young women. So, Jordan, how long have you had social media?
My first social media being Facebook, I had that in the middle of 6th grade. I think I was 12, maybe 13. I had Facebook for about 10 plus years maybe.
So you were fairly young,
yes.
Middle school. So.
And it was all pressure. Everybody had Facebook, so I thought I needed to have it too. So.
I think a lot of us in middle school felt that same way.
For me, it was actually elementary school. Just like Jordan said, it was I got Facebook just because it was a game on Facebook and my friends were playing it, and I wanted to play with them. So that's how I ended up getting Facebook. That was in the 4th grade. That was 2011. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I actually was restricted of social media usage in my earlier years. But eventually my mom allowed me to use Facebook, but it was very limited. she would monitor everything I did. And that was the only social media I was allowed to use.
So as of January 2022, there are 3.96 billion total social media users across all platforms. The average person browses between 7 different social media networks per month. The amount of time adults use social media across all platforms is now higher than ever, at 95 minutes per day. So based on that fact, how have you guys witnessed the change of social media throughout time? Like we said with Jordan, how you started early on, I started early on. We all started early on, but how have you guys seen social media change throughout that time?
I think I've seen definitely a switch in social media usage where it's more like business now, like making money or for businesses to promote their products. It's not really a place for like, I don't know, to show your family now. It's like different, I guess. And I will also say personally, I don't use certain apps anymore. So over time I got rid of Snapchat and Facebook and all that stuff because I felt like it was not, as I got older, I just felt like it wasn't just useful for me, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like as time goes, like there's certain social media that like it's always been there. Like since Instagram came out, it's always been there. People still use Instagram, but if you go back and even think about MySpace, Kick was big when we were teenagers, and think about TikTok, right? We didn't know what TikTok was when we first started high school, and now it's probably the biggest social media platform right now. So I think like it's just like each platform has its own time to shine, but there's some of them that just stand out, like Facebook.
I think that's a good point that you mentioned. Just transitioning into, the past 2 years, we've all been living through this pandemic. Do you think the pandemic increased or decreased your usage on social media?
I feel like it definitely increased because we didn't have anything to do besides stay home, and people are bored. A lot of people like to go out and play. Like, I like to go out and play soccer all the time, and I was limited because of that. So I was home on my phone watching TV because those were the things at the time that kept me satisfied.
How long do you think you can... This is like a, what if question. How long do you think you can go without social media, and do you think it would affect your life?
I think I can go a month without social media at most. I think what really helped me was that around the time of 9th grade, I actually lost my phone. And I had like no way of connecting to people, and I was at my brother's house in Atlanta with nothing to do, and I was pretty fine. I spent a week without my phone.
I don't really know. I don't think I could go that long without it because of like the connection that I have like with my family and like how nervous they would be if we weren't like communicating at least every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it would affect my life a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree too. I think, right now at this point in my life where I do content creation and I do make money from social media, it would definitely have an impact on my life.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I won't be making money, but also I won't be able to do what I love, like on social media, and connect with people around the world. So that would have an emotional impact and also financial impact on my life.
What about interactions? Do you guys think that social media has helped or hindered your ability to interact with others in real life?
I feel like the internet made it a lot easier for us to become more risk-taking on the internet, because I can look at somebody's profile and shoot them a message or something like that, but like in the street or like even while I'm at work, it's like I'm not gonna talk to anybody because of like face to face. You don't face the same type of
pressure.
Yeah, you don't face the same pressure when it's on your phone as if when you're face to face.
I agree.
I definitely have to agree with Jordan. I feel like after the pandemic, I've struggled to, when it comes to people that I don't know, like I just met, it's hard for me to like communicate with them now. But this is more after the pandemic. Like before the pandemic, I was still like, I've always been shy, but like I've been able to like, you know, hold down the conversation. But I feel like after the pandemic, and I came back from using social media a lot, it did hinder my ability to actually interact with others face to face.
I think for me, social media, like, it's different for me because like, I feel like the first year of the pandemic, I had trouble with interacting with people because I didn't really like talk to anybody. But now, since you know I got older too, I feel like my communication has actually gotten better. Like even with social media, and obviously like the stuff that I do on the internet, like I have to communicate with people constantly. So I guess I could say it helped me. In some ways, it hindered me in the beginning. I would also like to talk about, as in regards to interactions, something that we see common on social media is catfishing. You know, where a lot of people just make fake profiles or scam people. And you see that a lot for creators. You know, I think that's a big issue. And also, just other social media apps like dating apps. Tinder, Bumble,
I don't know. I don't use
whatever dating apps is out there. I'm pretty sure catfishing is prevalent on those apps. You know, where it's like, I think that's the negative aspect of social media, is that you don't really know who that person is or what that person really looks like in real life.
Well, it's just like Jordan said earlier, like people, when it comes to social media, they're not going to post who they really are, especially on these dating apps. They're going to try to present themselves like as best as possible. So they're only going to show their highlights. So to a certain point, it's like most of them are catfishing because they're not like really showing who they actually are, or not telling you who they like, what they actually do. Like a lot of people are just not telling the truth.
But I will also say that businesses do that too. Like the product that they, promote is not really what it seems like until you actually have it. I'm saying like that whole catfishing and fake stuff on the internet is normal now.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like you go and you look at a profile, like you should expect to see something that's not real or something that's not really a replica of that person or thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they just mostly posting their highlights, whether it's businesses or just people.
Which I think would be a negative for people who are younger, because they're not really aware, you know, because when we were young, it wasn't like that back then. But now, like young people now, I mean, depending, you know, who they are, where they come from, but some young people may look at it and be like, oh my God, this person is XYZ, you know, they look like this, I want to look like them. In reality, it's a Photoshop picture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not real. I think another negative thing to social media would definitely be like, I'm pretty sure we all know what the dark web is.
Yeah.
That can get a lot of people in trouble.
Definitely.
And it's very dangerous. I actually didn't even know what that was until a couple years ago. So, yeah, and then I will also say, like, if you talk about social media in other places in the world, like North Korea, or like real strict places, you know, they don't get to see what we see.
Yeah, because they definitely have restrictions on their social media usage and what they see on social media.
Yep.
So that plays a part on it too.
Would you say that's an advantage or disadvantage to you?
I think it's positive because we have a lot of younger kids now getting into social media, and it's becoming more harder to for parents to oversee what their kids are doing, you know? If a parent can have a parental lock on YouTube or other types of social media that might show inappropriate things for children, I think that would be like very helpful.
But obviously, restrictions are beneficial for younger people. However, as somebody who has grown up with social media, when you start seeing your content being restricted, or like things that are like parental consented. Yeah, something like that. It kind of makes social media less enjoyable for some people. Like, think about Vine. You know, that was not really restricted as it was now with other apps like somewhat TikTok.
I mean, some of the videos like on TikTok are very much explicit and for not children to see. Even when I was going through Vine, I mainly saw like funny videos. I felt like people understood that Vine was strictly for funny video. Occasionally there were some explicit videos, but like it was mainly that. I feel like TikTok is just like anybody could post what they want, so you know.
Well, for me in the content creator space, I think restriction is definitely biased, if that's the word I'm looking for. So basically on YouTube, you know, where we post our videos online, because the platform has such a broad restriction policy, like anyone's video who fall, quote unquote, fall into that category can get demonetized, which means you don't get paid. That doesn't necessarily mean that that video, you know, went against that policy. Yeah. So I'm saying like restrictions can actually work against some people than for people, depending on the content that you're creating. Steering away from restrictions, if we're going to talk more about transparency, I think the number one app that has that much transparency is Twitter.
Definitely.
When I mean transparent on Twitter, I feel like, you know, people are not afraid to say what they want.
I think social medias like Twitter and Reddit, I feel like they don't... I have both, which I barely use both. And I feel like when I use them, I feel like their videos are just like... You can see anything. And when I mean anything, you can see like somebody getting run over by a car. And they won't say like what's it about or anything like that, you know? Whereas Facebook, they would show like... They'd have a sensory, like telling discussion. You... Yeah, they would tell you. Or like... Same as with like TikTok, and if there's like a lot of lights that can cause a seizure, they'll let you know before. I feel like Twitter, Reddit, they just like show you straight off there.
Like Twitter, anybody can go in and fake their age and make an account. So like if we're talking about parental consent or whatever it was, that's not really seen on Twitter.
Yeah, the problem with Twitter is that Twitter and Reddit, they're both known as those apps that like... You're going to get people for who they are. Like, they're going to truly show who they are. It's not a place where you post, like, pictures about yourself. It's not Instagram. Twitter is like a place where people talk, say whatever they want. Because they know there's not going to be that many consequences on Twitter unless you're, like, a famous person. But... After that, people are not afraid to say whatever they want when it comes to Twitter or Reddit.
I also feel like social media, a lot of people use it as a shield to what they really want to say. Because, let's, given a scenario, like, it's very hard to say something to somebody's face. It's much easier to do it over, like, a text message, right? If I see something I don't like, I can just say I don't like it or whatever with no repercussions to me. But like if I say it like in real life, it's just like, oh, will he beat me up? Well, oh, will this happen or will that happen, you know? Whereas social media is just like, you can be home, typing away. And that leads to a lot of
cyberbullying.
Yeah. So lastly, we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of social media. And the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to the disadvantages, or it could be advantages to some people, is cancel culture. So that is a more recent term. I think cancel culture, you know, in my opinion, can be taken too far. You know, and I think I've seen it more useful for people who have more followers or, you know, influencers or celebrities. But sometimes it can be taken too far where it's like people cancel someone over something that's not that deep, if you know what I mean. So, Jordan, do you have any examples of that you've seen on social media in regards to cancel culture?
Cancel culture is, I see it as a an advantage more than a disadvantage, even though they do take it too far. Like there was an old YouTuber back in the day. I forgot his name, and like the content he posted were like it's the content that he produced on YouTube was like his name is Leafy here, and he used to like talk about little children, like to little children's videos, and he'd like say stuff about them, and I felt like cancel culture did a really good job in like belittling him and not making him relevant in today's YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any examples, Juan?
I don't know. I don't really agree with cancel culture. I don't believe in it. I don't believe it actually like for the example that Jordan brought. Yeah, it could have stopped his content, but it doesn't stop him as a person as like still doing the same things. So I don't believe that cancel culture actually has any effect on the person, which at the end of the day should be the main priority if you want to make a change. Like I don't like agree with cancel. I don't believe it actually does anything helpful at all.
I think it depends on the person and the situation, because a more recent example of what both of y'all said is the cancel of EDP. Yeah. I believe his name is EDP.
But I think that's like way different, because in his situation that is something like it's always that has always been something that it doesn't have to necessarily deal with cancel culture. It's just the fact that it is illegal.
No,
it is something that is wrong. Like we know that.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying because he was an influencer or somebody famous, that was basically called cancel culture, because people, they didn't mess with him after that. And like you said, it didn't change him because he continued doing it, and that was the problem. So I can see like the advantage and disadvantage with his situation, in particular. But I think sometimes it can be taken too far. Things are probably not even real, like a TV show. Yeah. Like specifically Euphoria, right?
Yeah.
If you associate yourself with certain characters, people online will definitely come after you. They're like, "Oh my God, how do you support this person, or how don't you support this person?" And sometimes it gets taken too far, like cancel culture. So. And like I said, we also have to think about the effects it has on the person that you're canceling, because it may do more harm than good. When I mean that, I mean if somebody does something out of pocket or like bad, that all that attention you're putting on them could cause them to do something even worse. Yeah. So that's why I think about it as like disadvantage. Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts on social media, Jordan?
No, I don't have any more thoughts on social media.
Okay. What about you, Juan?
I don't have as well.
Well, I think that concludes our podcast. Thank you so much, Jordan, for joining today, and I hope you all have a great day.